Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. I hope you're having an amazing day wherever you're in this world. Today is a special episode because we're gonna talk about the cons of living on a sailboat. Alright, so there are a lot of great things about living on a sailboat. You can imagine the adventure, the sailing, the sunset cruise with the cocktails and everything. But actually there are also a lot of challenges that you might not face on land. And with Trina we read a book called Living on Board a Boat by Mark Nicholas, and we also talked to a lot of people who have boats and live on them. So we came up with a list of the major challenges that you will face if you want to live on a sailboat. We created that video to share with you those challenges because you know what, we thought it might be helpful if you're considering also the idea of going on a sailboat. If you're already living on a sailboat and you think we're missing stuff, just add them in the comments. We'll be happy to hear your thoughts. So let's start with the challenges. Ready? Go! Challenge number 1, humidity.
No more steamy showers for me.
A boat is on water, right? And guess what? You can't avoid it, but it's going to get humid and moist in your boat. And if you're in like northern countries or very southern countries where it gets cold, actually you're gonna have condensation inside the boat. So the book and our friends bring up a lot of things, like for example, if you're cooking you have to be careful not to put too much steam in the air, otherwise the humidity level rises like crazy and then it just condensates at night or when temperature outside is colder. You can't really dry things. If you're storing stuff in closets, actually they might get humid, and if you have clothes or suits or whatever, that might not be great to store your stuff. That's one of the big problems, and also you have a lot of parts in the boat you can't really access, and if humidity gets there, that's really not good. Basically, in winter, think about it, it might end up like in a tent. If you're sleeping in there, you're gonna have rain falling on you almost if you don't do it properly, because it's just gonna condensate everywhere. That's a real challenge, to be honest. Just keeping stuff dry, your laptop, your camera, your clothes, your papers, everything might get humid. So that's something to remember. There are ways to prevent it, but that's not what we're gonna be talking about. So just remember that. So boiling water for hours or taking hot showers might become really challenging if you don't want your boat to get super humid and everything to get damp. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Number 2, storage. So where do you fit all that? The clothes, Trina's shoes, some of mine, but mainly Trina again. And that's not even showing you the drawers. Yes, a boat is smaller than an apartment most of the time, unless you're getting a massive one. But even then, you're gonna face challenges. As Mark says in the book, just try to bring your suitcase on a boat and you will see that actually you can't store your suitcase anywhere. So with that in mind, when you're moving on a boat, basically you need to reduce on all your physical possessions, or you need to get an external storage unit, which a lot of people end up doing. Over time, they might get rid of more and more stuff in their storage unit and fully move everything on the boat, but that's not a given, to be honest. And you know, it's just little things. It can be a little box you liked, or pairs of shoes, or you know, winter jacket. Everything gets really challenging. The bigger your boat is, the better, obviously, the more space you're gonna have. It's always a trade-off, price, size. Alright, next one. Challenge number 3, motion. Come, Trina, come! Come on! There's a storm! It's getting harder! If you have motion sickness, if you don't feel good in transport, it might not be a great idea to move on a sailboat. Well, that being said, I'm sure you can get used to it to a certain extent. But what I mean by motion is not just like the nice rocking boat, like very light movement of the boat to get you to sleep. It's more like if you're in a marina that's not very well protected, and when the weather is not great, your boat is gonna move a bit too much usually. There's also something else. When you're in a marina and when you're docked, other boats may pass by and create waves that's gonna move your boat. And apparently it's not always enjoyable. Alright, on to the next challenge. Challenge number 4, your personal space.
Oh, it's so nice to be home. Oh, I've had an exhausting day.
Hey honey, I'm home.
Oh, hi. I didn't expect you home so early.
Yeah, how are you? How was your day?
Oh, it's been a bit tiring and stressful.
Yeah?
Do you mind giving me some alone time? I really need some time to myself. Like maybe you can go somewhere?
Yeah, sure. Where?
Um,
Sheila, this is our room. This is the room.
Well, what about the deck?
It's like freezing outside. I just came out from outside. It's freezing, babe. I can't just like hang out on the deck in winter. You are now in a beautiful sailboat that most likely has one main room and a few cabins. And you know what that means? Is that you're gonna be sharing that space with the person you're living with. So if you're just with yourself and your cat or your dog, that might be pretty cool. But if you are in a couple like we are, or if you have kids, remember that you will always be next to each other. You might be touching each other when you're moving. There is not that much space in regular sailboats, and that's something to consider. If you want your own space and you really like to have your privacy and everything, it's gonna get tricky. It's very communal life. So if you're a couple but both of you are very independent, maybe you should get two sailboats and just dock them next to each other. It might be nice to go sleep in one of each other's boat also. Alright, next challenge. Challenge number 5. Noise.
The noise.
Well, you know, a sailboat is not really insulated for noise. Usually it's just your fiberglass hull, and that's about it. There is no insulation like in buildings with like bricks and everything, which means that the noise gets through very easily. Also, water is very good at broadcasting sounds, and sounds travel really fast through water, and it's gonna echo in your boat to a certain extent, which can make it challenging for a different reason. If your neighbors are loud, you will hear it, but you can argue that you will hear it too in an apartment. But for example, like if it's windy and people didn't attach the rigging correctly, you might hear cling, 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 cling the whole night until someone goes crazy and fixes it. Also, if you're in a marina that has a lot of traffic, you're gonna hear the boats pass by, and that might not be enjoyable for you. So choose well your marina, remember, it's important. Alright, that's it for the noise. Next challenge. Challenge number 6. Maintenance. Gina, we gotta fix that one again.
Not again.
Yeah, I'm being serious, it's broken. They say you have to maintain it, but this is called fixing right now. It's been like the 5th time. Yes, a boat is like a boat is kind of like an old car. You kind of need to fix stuff all the time. The newer it is, the better it gets, but still you always have to fix stuff. So you have to be handy, or you have to be ready to pay a lot of money for people to do it for you. And also something to consider is that when you're living inside your boat, you might not want to be fixing very important things, because you're gonna have to put your living space upside down, and that's not really what you want to do. It's just as if you had to change the whole floor of your apartment. You might delay those like massive changes for later, and that might compound into something negative. Just remember, on a sailboat or any boat, you need to be handy and do maintenance all the time. There are so many systems like water, electricity, batteries, the rigging, the engine. What am I forgetting? There are so many things. So that's it for maintenance. Might not be a problem for you, or it might be something that scares you off. I don't know. For us, it's not the most scary thing, to be honest. Alright, on to the next challenge. Challenge number 7. Transport. If you live in the marina on the other side, this is the trip you want to take to get to Manhattan the fastest. Basically, it's something you have to keep in mind is how far you're gonna be from the city you're in, or you want to be in, or where you're working, basically. Because sometimes marina can get remote or difficult to access, and that might require you to have a car as extra, or I don't know, a bike. It really depends. I think in order at least a bike, skateboard, scooter, kayak, sub, very good at swimming. There is a big social life happening in the marina, but if you want to keep the same lifestyle, it might be difficult if transport is difficult. That's it for transport and the location of your marina. Challenge number 8. That last challenge is very depending on where you're in the world. And it's basically winter. So winter times can get pretty tough in the northeast, which means that there might be ice, snow, it's gonna get really cold. Basically, you need to make sure that your boat doesn't freeze, or if it does, that it's safe for it to freeze. First of all, if you're living on it, the marina should make sure that the water is not going to freeze around your boat. And also, if you don't want to be heating the whole boat, meaning all the little parts, even the engine compartment and everything, you need to make sure that the tank and the hoses and all those parts are not going to freeze, otherwise they're gonna break up through winter. You also need to make sure to remove the ice and the snow from your boat because it's gonna make it heavier. And what has happened in the past is that their boat got so heavy that water actually got back in the boat and it just basically sunk in winter. So that sucks. It's something to remember. And one of the things that also people do a lot, one of the solutions is they shrink wrap their boat with basically transparent plastic all around the boat. What that does is that it creates a greenhouse within your boat atmosphere. You don't need to remove the ice or the snow anymore. Also because it protects the deck. Apparently it's really enjoyable and you get a good temperature, but it's an added cost. It isn't something you need to do. That's it for all the challenges. So we have about 8 big ones. In this video it was really about the challenges. So as you can see, there are a lot of things to consider. It's fine. There are a lot of things you can do in order to prevent them from happening or adapting better, but some things that just need to be accepted mentally by the people who wants to move on the boat. If you're considering it also, just make sure you're aware of all of them. And guys, if you have other challenges, just list them in the comments, or if you have other ideas of great solution for each one of them, just feel free to add them in the comments. We'll be really happy for you to share them with us. Alright guys, that wraps up the discussion on the challenges of living on a sailboat. Leave a thumbs up if you liked the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and remember to subscribe to follow the adventures. With that being said, I hope you're having an amazing day, and I will see you tomorrow for new adventures. Bye guys!